All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Arthur, the MC for today. And so today we have Dr. Fairoza, and she had a she had a talk with APU a few weeks ago, I think. The lead woman in AI. So we're just here to have an interview with her. All right. So Dr. Fairoza, how can I address you?
Just Dr. Fairoza is enough.
All right, okay. So, can you tell us about your uh, history and your background?
Yeah, I think I prepared a slides for this because Core told me that actually it's a lecture, right? It's not an interview, I think. Which one actually?
Um, I guess I guess lecture, but with we have questions to ask.
Okay. So to introduce myself, I think wait, let me just share my screen. Here, this is me. So I don't know, I'm quite famous in the field actually. Okay, so I received my bachelor degree, master, and PhD from Japan. And then after that, upon finishing my PhD, I just continue becoming an academician as an assistant professor in the Kyoto College of Graduate Studies for Informatics. And then after that, COVID happened, and then I joined the Corona Tracker. And then I saw that it's very impossible for me to go back and come back to Malaysia again and again. So that's why I was thinking like, better I just come back to Malaysia, return home, and at the point of returning home after that, I joined the industry, but at the same time, I still very active in the COVID-19 analysis and, of course, like establishing the Women in AI Malaysia. So, because of that, I was featured in a lot of media in 2020. And then the recent one is like I was invited by the MOSTI during the National AI Roadmap as one of the panelists to present on the AI roadmap for the women lah in AI. And then currently I'm working as a senior AI engineer in Torum Technologies Sdn Bhd. At the same time, I'm also co-founded my own company, which called as Ever AI Technologies. So previously, I also worked as a data scientist in ST Microelectronic. It was a semiconductor company lah, and I lead the data science team there. So that's a little bit about me.
I see. Okay. It's very interesting. So, how did you get into the AI industry before you were studying for it, or what inspired you to study for it?
Okay, what inspired me? Oh, this is a very interesting question actually. So my PhD basically doing the traditional image processing. It's not really an AI because I'm doing the image compression, which is like we don't really need AI at that time, and there's no advanced research. It is not like this 2022. You can get Python, you get Keras, you get TensorFlow. At that time, PyTorch just come out at 2018, and then TensorFlow I think around 2016 and 17, and from that we have like this kind of like very big data set, and we have powerful GPU. It was very hard at the beginning, and then after that when my field becoming booming with the this kind of like AI and everything, I started to learn them by myself lah. We have a class of machine learning when I was in master, but unfortunately it's not really sparking my interest yet until it's really related to my research. And then while doing some sort of job hunting in Japan as well, I was thinking like AI is the future. So that's why I started to venture to AI by studying the, all of this tabular data stuff, NLP and computer vision. So as of now in my working life, I touch on NLP, I touch on computer vision, and I also touch in tabular data processing. So all of that lah already.
So to say you are in a lot of other industries as well, lah, right?
Yes, because I switched from academics and I was
Mm-hmm.
the pioneer of the Python programming and AI concentration in my previous university. And then after that, when I come back to Malaysia, I joined a marketplace which was called these patents. And then after that, I joined the semiconductor industry, ST Microelectronics, right? It's totally different data. And finally, in Ever AI Technologies, in my own company, we create the no-code solution. And then after that, and now currently I'm in Torum, which is like I'm dealing with the crypto and social media platform data. So it's totally different data, totally different field, and it's very interesting. Hopefully the students here can get the what's interesting there.
So majority of uh areas you're exploring is like mainly in data analytics as well, is it?
Yes, correct. When you are doing the tabular data processing, it's mainly the data analytics lah. But when you are doing the NLP, computer vision, it's mostly on the deep learning and machine learning.
I see. Okay. Um, is there any other areas that you would like to explore in terms of, yeah, in the other industries?
In terms of other industries, well, currently when I'm joining this Torum technology, right, it was like it's a crypto plus social media platform. It's very interesting actually, because our next project will be predicting the crypto industry, the projects and the trend. And then currently I'm like wrangling the data in the social media. So it's a very interesting data compared to the semicon. In the semiconductor industries, they have a lot of data. But if you don't understand what the data is, it's not really as easy as you get the social media data or marketplace data. The one you can think logically. But in semiconductor industry, if you don't understand how they work, how the data is being processed, you will never understand on how to do the dashboard or even to do a prediction on that. So you really need to work closely with the domain expert, then you can understand that. So it's a very challenging one. I think like the next industry that I want to go, that's why I'm venturing in my own company as well, because we are building the no code platform for everyone. Because I was thinking like we have very low expertise. We have like the gap in Malaysia, because I'm also recruiting for my company, right? Looking for AI engineer, data scientist. But then what we found is like we have very a lot of people in the fresh grad level, but very difficult to get the one that is expert. Because once you are in the mid-level, most Malaysians, they tend to jump out of the country. That's normal. Jump out of the country. It's either they do the freelancing or whatsoever, and then the salary is not competitive for them anymore. And then if you are in the expert, not all of the company in Malaysia can afford to hire experts. So most of them when they finish fresh grad, they already have like master in data science or whatsoever. They will stay in Malaysia for a quite low salary. They still okay. They just learn for 2-3 years, and after that they jump out of the country. So the gap of the talent is there. So that's why most of the companies in Malaysia, they still cannot adapt AI very well. So that's why the next thing that I really want to venture is of course our no code platform lah, because it's like building AI for everyone, so that everyone can become very good in the field. Everyone can use AI without having any programming knowledge. So, but it's very interesting lah, all of the genies that come up with this idea at the same time.
So, would you say like from us fresh graduates, what's the biggest gap from us fresh graduates to like someone who's been working in the industry?
Okay, first of all, okay, let me show you. There is a very nice slides on this actually. Okay, I think yes, this one. Okay, let's see this the JD. So this is the one thing that I always like give to all other universities as well. So you see this company X, right? The responsibilities. They want to develop various analytic models and then perform data wrangling, extract exploratory insights, and then solve analytical problem, and then work closely to provide cross-functional solutions. So if you see this one, if this is a data scientist, this is quite a mid-level, not really a fresh grad level. But then some fresh grad students also can get it very well, because some of my staff in my current company, even though they are very fresh, they just finished master in data science, but they are able to solve this analytical problem. And they previously come from different background. They are not in computer science at all. They are one from marine engineering, I think, and one from petrol engineering, and they're very good at it. So, and then we have another one, which is this company, right? Develop, implement, and maintain quantitative models. So you dev, and after that you implement, and after that you need to maintain. Wow, this is totally like, end-to-end job of the data scientist lah. And then after that, you need to monitor, backtest, and report performance. So this is very normal as a data scientist, AI engineer. When you build a model, you always need to monitor and report back. So there's a lot of ways to monitor. Some of them like using ML Ops, but currently I mainly use a traditional way. I just look at like every day 9:30. I already schedule, right? So after scheduling, then I will check there's bugs or not. I will check how much is predicted, and after that I will come back to the QA team lah. So are you okay with this or not? And then last but not least, this one, active engagement with stakeholders. Stakeholders, right? So another sort of communication. And then this is another company, which is like they said like identify uh, valuable data resources and automate collection process. And then possess strong analytical skills, right? Data visualization. So you know already if data visualization, what you need to use, Tableau, Google Data Studio. What else do you have? Tableau, Google Data Studio, Power BI, or maybe Streamlit. Mm. And then data query, campaign tracking. Data query is sometimes in SQL. Like in my current company, what I use is like we use the MongoDB. So it's not really the SQL, but it's MQL, MongoDB query language. And then previously when I was in a semiconductor company, we cannot touch the SQL at all. That's very interesting. So they give us in CSV, but we need to know which data point that we want. And previously also they just give a JSON dump file only. So basically, if you know the query language, it will be very nice lah. But this one, if you see the words lead and build a strong data foundation, this definitely not a fresh grad job description. So let's see in our company, how do I make our JD? So this one is really for fresh grad. So it's either you should have or currently pursuing in IT, computer science, stats, maths, or electrical engineering. But I'm okay if you're self-taught. So that's why some of our staff, we just take someone that is self-taught. And then you need to love data. If you don't love data, I won't take you. This is from the perspective of recruiter. Usually, I'm the one that actually screening your CV actually. And then if you don't love data, I won't take you at all. Okay, and then you need to love the maths and wrangling the data. But if you just talk and talk and talk about data, like we have one candidate, they just say like, we need to visualize the data, we need to wrangle the data, but then they don't understand the core of machine learning and deep learning also, we don't take them. And then, so this is the bonus lah. If you are fresh grad, we don't really expect you to understand what is Scrum, what is Agile methodologies. So eventually when you come to us, we will actually teach you lah what is Scrum and everything. But another thing that I didn't put it here is actually the Git lah. Git, if you know GitHub, like if you have the source, control, versioning control of the coding, how to do the collaboration, it will be a plus for you lah. So that's why in our coding test, I always ask the candidates actually submit the GitHub link plus the deployed web apps like in Heroku or whatsoever. Because you will, if you deploy the web apps, then I know that you are able to deploy anything. And then another thing is like you are able to visualize the data. And then of course, Python is the must. And then the data science tools lah, any tools like if you use scikit-learn, TensorFlow. Nowadays it's not like before. If like before, you need to do everything by yourself. Now you have TensorFlow, you have Keras, you have all the pre-trained models. Even though you do the NLP, you don't need to train the model by yourself. They already trained for you. You just do pip install. That's it. Okay, so that's a little bit. I hope it's answering your question.
Yep. So okay, just a sidetrack. So currently in the AI industry, like how big is like a company would have for the engineering team?
How big the company will have for engineering team?
Like
So
how
this,
many employees? Yeah.
okay, so this one is actually different. By companies, is very different. If like me previously when I was in a semiconductor company, so engineering team in semiconductor is very big, but a data science team is very small. So we have about 5 branches in the backend, I think. And then out of these 5 branches, we only have 10 data scientists plus data engineer. And we have a lot of data. And then like most of the companies, if you are in a software company, is in a software company, right? Even though the software company is very big, you will have about 5, at most 5 or 10 as a data scientist, data engineer, the data team. But if you are in a company that really do data, like Money Lion, right? Money Lion, they have about 20 or 30 people inside the team. Like if you are in Facebook, you are in Microsoft, you will have more than that. But most of that, I would say the data team, if in a software or any other industry, it will just about 5 to 10%, not more than that. So it's very competitive, especially for the fresh grad, because if you can't get the job as a fresh grad, it's very difficult for you to jump to the mid and senior level.
All right. Okay. So like, let's say we are fresh grads, like competing with each other. Like, should we see ourselves and our strengths? Like, what strength areas should we improve?
Okay, what strength area will you improve? Okay, so the real data science job scope, right? So my question here, if you see all the JD just now, right? So what do you think of the real data science job scope? You have the communication, analytics, visualization. What is it actually? So this is the one that you need to answer by yourself, which one you really want to go deep actually. If you just want to become a data analyst, because like you see here, this one, right? There is a database admin, data engineer, data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, and you have the ML engineer, backend and front end. So basically, if you just want to become a data analyst, then you need to be very good in Power BI, Tableau, Google Data Studio, or any visualization tools. So I have a friend that actually becoming a Power BI developer, because Power BI is also complicated lah. I was a trainer for the Power BI also, and it was it's quite difficult to do lah. And then if you really like to, doing engineering stuff like software engineer plus data, then you should go for data engineer. Because data engineer, you will play around all of the logics of programmings, and then you are the one that actually get the data to the data scientist. You are the one that do the extract, transform, and load. And then if you just think like you love data, but you don't really like to do programming, okay, you can go for data analyst, and you can also go for data scientist. So usually the one that always do the talk is data analyst and data scientist. So, and then, but most of the companies in Malaysia, they are expecting data scientists to know end to end. Most of the companies in Malaysia, they don't say like, I want you to become just a data analyst. No, they will just hire you for data scientist, and after that, you are expected to do end to end. But if you really like to do modeling, means like you really like to build model. I like to test, like you are thinking like you really like to test model, you really like to build any machine learning model, then you should go for machine learning engineer. But machine learning engineer is quite challenging because you need to be able to deploy the model. Like you need to make sure your model go to the production. So this is quite tricky because most of the companies, a lot of companies, they have different ways of deploying their model. Some are using API, some are using like, putting it back to the database. Some of them like, it's totally different, every companies. So some just giving the model, just I give you the HDF5 model or TensorFlow like model lah, the TF like TF serving model, and then you just put in something like that. So it's totally different in every company. And the machine learning engineer should be able to communicate with the backend software engineer very well. So basically the user interface is always being done by the front end engineer, but if you don't have any front end, then the data analyst will do it. Or if you just like to do testing, right, you can become the QA tester for AI model. QA tester for AI model is very interesting also. And QA tester usually need to be very tough because you need to fight with the software engineer. Okay, so this is the data science. Like if you really want, you can actually understand what you want to be like in the future after this. Which part really suits you? Some people really like to talk. So if you really like to talk, go for data scientist and data analyst. Okay.
So, um, you mentioned on like Malaysia companies when they are hiring, they expect from the from the employee to be cover all the roles. You said?
Yes. It's not only Malaysian company. Most of the companies that really have few data scientists or just want to embark to the industry.
Like they're really desperate to hire and start off the team, is it?
Yes. So usually this kind of company, they don't go for the fresh grad lah. They will just go for mid-level or senior. But
I
if they
see.
hire the fresh grad, they will expect this fresh grad to do the same thing. You need to see the JD lah. If like the salary is fresh grad, but the responsibility is like end to end, then something wrong there.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, let's move on to another question. Is So currently technology is like really pushing forward AI. How about in the future? How would that be different? Like,
Okay,
yeah.
so this one will be here, the future of AI. Okay, AI and data science. Okay, so we have like I was very active in a lot of conferences actually when I'm quite free right now. I don't really have so much time to go for conferences. So in conferences like big conference like ICML, iClare, New Reefs, they always have this kind of future of AI lah, something like you will never understand, right? It was like, oh, we don't see this in Malaysia usually. So the future of data science is a no-code, low-code, data-centric, federated learning, explainable AI, auto-ML, meta learning, not the Facebook meta. This meta is not the Facebook one. Cooperative AI and quantum ML. So I will not explain one by one what is it. So no code and low code is very simple one. Like no code is like what we are currently doing, means like everyone can build the AI even though you don't have any technical knowledge. But low code usually they still able to adjust a little bit of hyperparameters or maybe putting up your Jupyter notebook inside and then deploy. Like Databricks, right? Databricks, they are the low-code AI platform, and Databricks was acquired by Microsoft Azure. And then there's a lot more no-code platform, like I think like AWS also embarking on this in their SageMaker. Previously, it was a low-code, and now they want to do no-code in the Amazon SageMaker as well. And they have like Dataiku, what else? A lot of like other big tools that are using no-code and low-code. So and then the next thing will be data centric. So garbage in, garbage out. Like this data centric is popularized by Andrew Ng. If you ever do the course, the MOC course by Andrew Ng in machine learning in Coursera. So previously, like people are thinking of building very grand model, then you can improve your accuracy. But now with what Andrew Ng introduced, like if you put in, garbage out, then they are more focused on the data. So if the data is very bad, then even though your model is very grand, but you still get a very, very bad results. And then we have federated learning. Federated learning is mostly to have it securely training in your device. Right now, if you have an application, right, and then like you go to the Facebook, and then you key in your data, you do all of your interaction, you like post there, you share post here, you do everything lah. And then they will get your data from your application and put into their database, and they will train and predict what you would like to do next. But in federated learning, actually the training is being done inside the platform itself, inside the application itself, inside your device itself. So the industry, the one that want to train the model will not get the whole data. So it's much more secure. And then the next thing is explainable AI. So explainable AI is very, very important because most of the machine learning right now is become a black box. Like when I first come to an industry, I told them, okay, we get this kind of result. It's very good, 99%. And then the engineers, the stakeholders started to asking me, how did you do that? How am I going to explain to them this is a black box that built that get you the 99% accuracy? It's very difficult, right? So that's why the next future trends of the AI is actually to have an explainable AI that can characterize AI model to get the model accuracy, fairness, transparency, and outcomes in AI powered decision making. So before this, like we just know, okay, why can I trust on this model? Why my loan rejected? No one knows. But now they have the output like loan rejected because user has low CIBIL score, no credit for 6 months, last for EMIs bounce. So basically they tell you the features. So this is another one, explainable AI. And this is the auto ML. Auto ML, I think like become very famous like 2-3 years ago, because the algorithm itself is very difficult. Actually, you need to have a lot of search and greedy algorithm to put inside it. So it's like to make ML available for non-ML experts. So you just put up the data set, and then like if you know teachable machine Google, it's exactly like that. Then you just put in the data, and after that they train for you, and then you get the results. You will never know what is the machine learning model is about, but it's very easy for the non-ML experts to do it. And then the next thing is meta learning. As I mentioned to you before, this is not Facebook. This meta is not Facebook. So means like we have very few data. We have very few data because big data, big data and few data is a main challenge for all data scientists. You will never get data that is really adequate enough to do the data science stuff in the industry. It's always impossible. So that's why they have this kind of meta learning where actually you learn to learn task. Means like it can learn faster, adaptable to environmental changes. Meaning that you have very few data and then you ask this data to learn again, to learn again, and to learn again. Eventually, it will grow your data set. It will grow your training knowledge. As you know, like machine learning is like you need to train the machine, right? So it's something like that. So this is the one some of the futures lah of the machine learning, and then it was like we have the cooperative AI, quantum ML as well lah. But quantum ML is more to the computing power lah, like how the Apple silicon they are building their chip. I think they are building from quantum. I think, and then Google is also exploring on this part as well. So okay, I hope this answer your question.
Yep, yep. Excellent. Um, okay, let's move on to another question. So the current employment trends, right? Because of COVID, a lot of work has been moved to remote work, right? Like how has that impacted the AI industry?
Wow, that's very nice. Remote work is always the best. Oh, I didn't work in the office anymore. My last office was in the semiconductor company, and I already said goodbye to the very big room, and I'm very nice here having it at home every day. Okay, that's very nice lah. Okay, so the employability trends, right? I think I have this one. Okay, so job requesting AI or machine learning skills are expected to increase by 71% in the next few years, in the next 5 years. So basically, if you don't jump into this field, if the company doesn't want to adapt AI, then they will become very backward lah behind. Like you know, like you still remember the Nokia story, like how they don't want to embark to the smartphone, and what happened to them. So it's just the same. It's like blockchain AI is a trending, like crypto, blockchain, AI is very trending now. If you don't embark to it, then you will become very backward. And then for how actually we do it here in a remote work, the best thing about remote work is you have the freedom to work anywhere, everywhere that you want. But it depends on the company lah, how strict the company is. So how do we communicate with each other? By using Slack. Mostly we use Slack. We don't use Teams. Because for me, I don't really like Teams. Teams is too lagging. And then Slack is way better. And then Slack has a lot of bots actually, like actually can increase the employee engagement. And then the next thing is after the Slack, we have the GitHub that we always do the source code, like you know, like we get the source code and then we raise for PR, pull requests, and then after that we clone, and after that we can raise issue, we can discuss on every PR there. And then the next thing is like we go for the cloud services. We don't have server in the house. Even in my previous semiconductor company also, we are moving to the cloud services lah, like Azure. So in here also, I mainly use AWS, and then in my current in AI technologies, we use the Azure lah. So it's basically just the same. Cloud and edge is totally the same. The difference is like cloud is hosted somewhere. Is hosted somewhere that you don't know, like in AWS data center or whatsoever. And then from there, actually, you can just do everything remotely. And then what else do they have is like if I went to the all of the conferences all over the world during the pandemic, we use like gather.town for the networking event. And then other than that, Topia, and then metaverse, sort of metaverse stuff and everything. So basically, remote work is something that what AI engineers and data scientists need to be very, very good at, because if you don't adapt to the how you want to work remotely and you really like to work in the office, even in the office also you need to have the Microsoft Teams on or maybe like slacking, because people are very very busy right now, and then now we can share screen easily, right? So you don't really need to have like a very big meeting room and just to project everything. So remote work is a very nice thing lah. So right now, even in my company also, we hire for remote work. We don't plan to have an office at all.
All right. Okay, that's very interesting. Um, is there a way like how to improve productivity during remote work even?
That's very interesting question. Change the environment lah, I would say. Some of my friends that will go to the some nearby cafes just to have the environment. But for me, I really like to stay at my own uh, workstation, which is I have my own big monitor and computer. And then if I feel like very stressful, then I will just go to the kitchen and then like make some tea and then eat something. Or I just recently bought a bicycle that I can, cycle while doing my work. And the next thing, maybe I would like to buy something that, like while working, and then I will just like run the treadmill, something like that. So this is how increasing the productivity lah. But usually this kind of company, they are not really very strict in your time. So in my own company, I just said like this, like you need to stay online 11 to 3, excluding your lunch hour. So other than that, you can just stop working at 3 and then like continue at 9. It's up to you. So it's up to you whenever you want. So if you need to have a meeting, then you should just go for a meeting. If not, then you just can do whatever you want as long as you submit your your output lah, whatever that they want, then you submit. So it's more to results oriented. So to increase the productivity, it always depends to yourself lah. I usually take a nap for half an hour like that.
All right. Okay. It's very interesting. Um, okay, I want to know about self-branding. How important is it?
Can you repeat again?
Self-branding?
Oh, self-branding. How is
Yeah.
important? Okay, there are two types of people in the world. People that just focus on self-branding but will not going to understand and not able to implement anything. And another one person, their self-branding is very good, but they are very good in doing also, in implementing. So I've met these two type of people. So the main reason why I actually don't really go full-time in my own company, because my own company, I'm not going to be in charge on the coding lah, developing, because I'm the COO, right? So mostly on operations. So I just want to stick with the technical stuff. And previously when I was in semiconductor industry also, as I'm the lead data scientist, I mostly don't touch on the coding part. I touch for half, and then after that give to my juniors to do it. So it's really, impact my technical coding style and everything. So for me, I don't really like to become someone that just like talking and talking without knowing what is exactly happening lah. So it's two type of people. For me, self-branding is important as well, because Malaysia is very competitive. If you, as a fresh grad, it's very competitive lah. So if you want to stand out in front of the employers, then you need to have a very good portfolio. But if you want to go for mid and maybe senior level, it depends on which country you want to go, either in Malaysia or any other countries. Usually they will see your LinkedIn profile first. Like I was interviewed by Facebook, Google, I think Facebook and Google lah, and also like reached out by AWS, as by Amazon as well. So previously was in Uber as well lah. I was reached out by them just because of my LinkedIn profile is very good, very standout enough. And then when they want to see your skills, sometimes like these kind of people, when they have very big self-branding, but then their skills is not really that as far as that. So we need to be balanced on that lah. Self-branding is important, but need to be balanced in technical. You cannot become someone that, oh, I know what is Power BI, but I never use Power BI, like that.
Okay. Okay, I want to ask on how is AI growing in Malaysia compared to other countries?
Okay, this one we have a data on this. Okay, so this one, right? Okay, this is actually from NeurIPS 2020. So where is Malaysia here? Zero. There's no Malaysia. Okay. So, okay, NeurIPS, all the big conferences in machine learning, data science, and AI, they are actually, all of these, they are actually not really from academics lah. I think like 30% or 40% from them come from industries as well. And then like in this field of startups as well, when we actually FAI technologies, we have been in the speech games. I think like 11 companies is from Malaysia, are from Malaysia, and AI is like, I think like only two to three companies lah. And then of course in EY Foundry also we are the only AI company. We have two AI company from Malaysia out of like 40 or 50 around that. And then we have very shortage of data professionals in 2020, but I think we already increased it a lot within these 2 years, because I've seen like when I open up a job posting on AI engineer or data scientist, even a data science intern, there will be like the ratio of, having a software engineering, like when I just post up a software engineer hiring, the ratio of coming in compared to the one that is a data scientist is very big gap lah. Means like I can get 100 applicants in 2 days, but in software engineer I will just get about 20 or 30 applicants. And then average of machine learning engineer per year right now is around this amount, but then for the fresh grad it's still really in a fresh grad level of salary, because most of the companies in Malaysia, they don't really have much money to actually hire in a very big salary to all of these people actually. So we are not really far enough. We are like, in Southeast Asia, of course, Singapore is the best. I think we are in the second or the third after Singapore in Indonesia. Indonesia is growing very well, actually. And
Okay.
Vietnam.
I see. So that's why most of us, like after the senior level, mid level, we move out of the country somewhere else.
Yes, that's
I
normal.
see. Um. Okay. Another. Okay. Another question is like, it's a positive lookout for us to be going towards the AI industry, right? Like as in, um, it'll come out in a positive way where somehow we'll be gaining more knowledge and like helping others as well.
Can you repeat again? I don't really get your question.
So basically is for our strengths, currently we are most of it, everyone here is learning under uh AI in currently learning in the AI industry. So if if when we all fresh graduates, will it be a good like good possibility for us all to be hired?
That depends on your skills lah, I would say. And then
Uh,
your interview skills, that's the most important. Because usually the stage of hiring, it depends on companies lah. If the companies really have like their own data team, usually they will ask for a coding test with you. So coding test, usually they will give you a bunch of data after 1 week, then you need to get back to them lah as soon as possible. Then uh, by using the coding test, they will filter out which one that they really want to have. And after that, they will call for an interview. And during the interview, you need to know how to actually explain on all of this data, like what is this about and everything. And then they will ask a lot of questions, especially in your behavior. So basically, when we have the interview like talking like this, most of them is actually want to see your behavior, whether you are very obedient one, you are like self-learning one, you really like to challenge your superior. This kind of like some of your seniors really doesn't like to be challenged. But then some of the seniors really like to be challenged. There are two types of seniors lah. For me, I really like people that really want to self-learn. So when I interview people, if I think like these people really can self-learn by themselves, that I don't need to monitor one by one, then I really like to take these people. If these kind of people really like to challenge me, I would see how far this person is going to challenge me. Okay, if you want to challenge me a lot until I feel burnt out, then I will just not take you. Okay, it difference lah. So before you go to this interview stage, what you need to have is a coding test. Some of the companies also, if you ever heard about the words whiteboard coding test, right? Whiteboard coding test, I also did this kind of interview as well, that I give you in a Google Docs or whatsoever. And then after that, I just ask you this kind of question. Okay, and then like you need to code right away in front of me.
I see. You mentioned you were part of the recruiting for your team, right?
Yes, correct.
So how much when you're doing like coding testing, how much do the answers differ from each other?
If it is a very simple coding, it's not really that differ. But if it is like quite, like for example, if we give like 1 week task, then the answer will differ lah, because on how they visualize everything and how they come up with the solutions. So those who are very creative, then we will call this person for an interview usually.
So and so we ourselves need to be creative and like innovative. You consider that very important, right?
Yeah, if you don't have this creativity, I think like as a data scientist, it's very difficult because the solution, like all of these Python packages are there, but how you want to come to that solution is a challenge.
I see. Okay. Um. Okay. We would like to ask like, um, what do you, the future of AI like? Is there a grim side of it?
What kind
Like,
of stuff?
there's a lot of talk of AI will be taking over some jobs.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like, how is that? Do you think this will be true? And how different would it be if it's not?
I don't think that AI is going to take job. Because okay, it's going to take manual labor lah, manual labor, of
Yeah,
course, manual
for
labor.
sure.
If you see the pandemic, right, when pandemic happened, what happened to our industry and working style? Before this, we think that remote is impossible. Before this, we don't really have a very nice Teams meeting, Zoom meeting, metaverse and whatsoever, right? So eventually it take over. Who pushed the digitalization in the company? It's not your boss. It's not the digital officer, the CDO, but the one that pushed the digitalization is the desperate of the people want to cope during the pandemic. So it's just the same with AI. So usually it's not really like, AI is going to take over some of the jobs, but eventually it need to take over. Like for example, human have a lot of bias in selecting data. Human also is prone to error. We have the human error, right? Like if you calibrate something, you will know that human eyes is different. Some human, they see that, oh, this is 0.1. Oh, no, this is 0.111, like that, this kind of thing. But AI, at some point, if they can make it very accurate, then it will take over the human job. Because in my current company, like in Torum, right, when we want to do one project, there is a like manual part and automated part. So this manual and automated, when they ask me, like, I would say let's not do, let go both of these hands. It should go hand in hand. Meaning it's like the automate part will eventually help the manual part, but the manual part will help verify the automate part. Until the automated part is totally good enough, then we will eliminate the manual part. So the manual level, I think like in the future, maybe 20 years ago, 20 years later, 10 to 20 years later, it will be gone in some workforce lah. Like maybe, rider. We don't need the rider, we just need the autonomous robot that send in, some foods. If you go to Japanese restaurant, you already have the waiter that is a robot.
Yeah. I want to ask again, like currently we have like the crypto bubble and the AI bubble. Like, so how do you think the AI bubble has like grown very big and like there will be too much fresh graduates in the future?
Yes, I think so.
I
Honestly.
see. There's too
Because
many students.
yeah, that's why you guys are from, you're in master or you are in bachelor degree currently?
Degree.
Bachelor degree, right? Okay. So most of those in the master in data science, right, they are coming from different background. So they have their own domain expert knowledge. Like for example, some of them come from engineering, semiconductor, some of them come from finance, some of them come petroleum, some of them come from accounting. So when they jump into data science, they actually still have their domain knowledge. So they are not the one that is going to be, like left behind. They still can get some job lah here and there. But if you guys really come from the bachelor degree in data science in AI, so you need to be very good in software engineering, because software engineering is not going to be faded away. If you don't do software engineering good enough, then it's very difficult for you to actually sustain in this kind of like environment, because you will have like a lot of data scientists in the world, but at the end of the day, what is the value and the contribution that you can make to the company that you want to ask for a job?
I see. Okay. Um, I think we're coming towards an end. All right. Do we have any questions we can ask? Hi, anyone want to volunteer?
Yes. Hello, Dr. Fairoza.
Yes.
I would like to ask that because you've been in women and in AI before, do you think that the movement really works, and is there a future for women in AI?
Wow, this is a very difficult question. You know what? When I come back to Malaysia, I think that women in Malaysia is much better than women in Japan, but it's just the same. Okay, let me. I was like, yeah, I was very surprised also, because in Japan, right, in my class, when I was a bachelor degree, we only have 7 female students out of 110. Okay, so you can imagine, right, how we struggle. And in my research lab, I'm always the only female. And then my supervisor really, like, bring in a lot of like exchange student, female exchange student from the overseas to be friend with me, or else like I will become very bored in the lab, all guys. And then when I go to the workforce, even in the academics as well, I am the only computer science lecturer, assistant professor, female. So you see all of this, like when I go for job hunting also, like they see me, oh, I'm wearing the scarf, right? First of all, you're very weird already, you wear scarf, you are a Muslim in a foreign country, and after that, like, you are a female in this industry, so it's very difficult lah. But when I come back to Malaysia, I thought it's going to be totally different, because like when I was doing my diploma, half of our classmates are female, half male, half male, and then we have a lot of computer science graduates that actually females, right? But then when I come to the workforce, it's very difficult. It's also I'm the only female in the team. Why? Why it is happening? So basically, that's why we have a lot of movements like women who code, women in AI, women in machine learning, women in data science. There's a lot of women movement, but then we need to have a very supportive environment that actually support these women, because most of these women, when they coming out as a fresh grad, they need to compete with a lot of guys to actually get the technical job. And after that, when they eventually growing, like for example, like if they give birth, like having a labor or whatsoever, and then after that, eventually the guys will think like, oh, female is always going to take a 3 months leave. Something like that, so we need to be someone that is very, very good enough that even though we take the 3 months leave, people will still value us. Like there is two things in employment lah. Replaceable, either you are replaceable or you are very, very good in the company that if you go, everything will die. But you need to have the work-life balance lah. Don't do it too much. That's the most important. Like in the previous semiconductor company that I worked with, actually when I resigned, the team also gone. So that's the word, like replaceable, or you become very good. But then I try to make sure that the team is not gone lah. So I try to get my apprentice and everything. But still, because no one is going to monitor all of that, so they still think that, oh, we are still lag behind. So they decided to dissolve the team.
Okay, thank you. Next is about, I wanted to ask about the challenges since you're doing so much, right? You're also in crypto in your current company, and the company that you founded yourself is also about a platform. So how do you manage all these changes? You're in such a big field at the same time.
Wow, very difficult one. This one is like you need to devote your time. Time devotion. So that's why everything that you want to do, it comes with passion. If you don't have the passion, if you don't like data, then you are not going to become a very good data scientist. If you don't really like technology, then you cannot become a very good technologist. So it's all come with the passion lah. So we have like when I started Women in AI, actually I know that I want to help a lot of women to become someone like, you know, if you know very like prominent women, like I think like in back in 1900s we have Marie Curie, right? Marie Curie is the only female scientist among all of the male scientists. So she has a very good supportive environment from the families and the friends. So we need to build this environment together. And then when we build up our startup, it's like because I was thinking like we need to have an inclusive AI. It's not going to be limited to female only, but everyone should be able to understand what AI is. And then when I go to the crypto industry, it's just like because I don't know how crypto works. I try to invest, but I don't really understand how the crypto actually you get money like that, like where it's come from. So that's why I was thinking like, why don't I just jump into this industry and try to figure out by myself lah. So it's all come from curiosity and passion, and then from there you get the time devotion.
Wow, impressive. uh, the other question I wanted to ask is, do you think that AI in Malaysia have future?
We have future. We have future. So I don't want to lose your hope to Malaysia. We have the future. We have the future. Definitely we have the future. But most of the, you know, like all of these stakeholders, the one that really hold into AI is someone that we call as boomers or Gen X. They don't really understand what is the technology and what is AI is. So we need to make them understand so that we don't really lose hope to this country. I would say we still has the hope, but we need to work on it together lah.
So it'll be a tough journey.
Yeah, it's a tough journey. It's already been 10 to 20 years. Like last time I had a call with a very nice doctor in this field, which is Dr. Pu Kwan Hong, Dr. KH, if you ever heard about him. Like he told me that he's a senior of mine. He come back to Malaysia 10, 20 years ago, I think 10 to 15 years ago, graduating from AI. And then he said like, at the first when he come back, he always like give a talk on what is AI, what is machine learning, what is everything, but it never progressed from there. When we started to go deep on like, you know, in the maths part of the deep learning, machine learning, no one is going to jump in and do this together, want to actually understand what is the AI about in a very deep way. So it's something that, you know, like Malaysia doesn't want to move to the advanced part because we are still like, you know, when it's some sort of like, you know, like work-life balance and of course the salary and everything lah. But then if you are in the field, better you go for deep knowledge. That's the most important part. Be good at something that is very good at you lah. Be very deep on that.
All right, thank you very much. My last question is, I'm really curious, like, how do you juggle your time around? Because you have your own company, at the same time you're in another company, you're working as a senior engineer. Like, how do you juggle the time around?
That one need to really, what we said, divide the time equally. Meaning that, you know, our priority lah, that's the most important. The highest priority, of course, the full-time job. So whatever, like if there is a very urgent need, then I will always like prioritize that one. So my current company is like the company that I established. It was like we have a lot of staff actually. So I just like manage them closely, but not really doing the hardcore job lah. And then the next thing is like in Women in AI also, we are a non-profit organization, right? So we just do it out of our free time. And then just to realize that mission. And then of course, work-life balance is the most important. Like having a family also, like we need to juggle with our family as well. Our family come first in everything. Because your job, you can lose it anytime, but you are going, you know, your family is the only one for you.
Yes, thank you very much. That's really informative. That's the last question for me. Anyone else have any questions?
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Fairoza. So, do you heard about Tesla AI Day?
Tesla AI Day. No, I never heard about that.
Oh, okay. It's actually Tesla that talk about introduce about the robot that they produce. So I think my question I will go for Camille first lah. Camille will ask the question first. Thank you. Because the question that I want to ask is about what your thoughts about the impact of the AI day. So I think that you didn't listen about didn't heard about the AID before, so I think it's fine. Thank you so much.
Okay. Oh, got Tesla AI idea. Oh, Tesla want to venture in everything. Everything will be conquered by Tesla. Interesting. Okay.
Okay, hello, ma'am. So, as you said, you have worked with crypto, right? So, I was asking, what do you think about the future of Web 3.0 with AI? Do you think that there will be a high demand of blockchain developers in the future?
Yes, there's a lot of demand of blockchain developers. If you want to become a blockchain developer, I think Torum is still hiring. So because we are building the Web3, but I don't really understand what is Web3. I just learned about it recently. So yeah, because blockchain and AI need to work hand in hand. It's not really like you have a blockchain very secure, right? You have a very secure data whatsoever. Then like you can have a crypto, you mine everything. But then if you don't have the AI inside it, it's actually quite meaningless lah. So that's why if you really jump into a software engineering field, either it's blockchain or AI, go very deep in software engineering. You should be able to understand how the algorithm works. That's the most important. Then after that, you can just venture to blockchain AI or whatsoever lah, because blockchain AI is just like another field of software engineering.
Okay, that's all from me. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah. So hi, Dr. Fairoza. I want to ask about what is the benefits of your company?
Which one? The Ever AI Technologies?
The current one.
The Torum, the benefits.
Yeah.
Okay, Torum is mostly a social media platform company that really focus on crypto. So if you really want to understand what crypto is, so you can just join torum.com, and then it's like Facebook and Twitter whatsoever lah. So they want to become a social ecosystem in this world. And then one more thing is like they also integrate your wallet inside the social fi, and then they also release a coin called XTM. So basically, if you do a lot, like if you post a lot, you like a lot, then they will have some missions and you get the tokens, and after 500 XTM, then you can withdraw it as a money as well. And then another thing is like they also have their own NFTs, so you can actually purchase the NFTs and resell the NFTs. So they really want to venture into the metaverse, Web3, and the blockchain ecosystem. So that's why in our next project is actually to make sure that we can predict and we get the values of every other projects of the blockchain in the world, and then we merge it into our platform. So that is their main goal in building this platform actually, so that like you can get everything all in one about crypto inside this platform.
Oh,
So
so
feel free,
actually,
yeah,
yeah.
to join the torum.com.
Actually, is the one I want to ask is like the benefits in term of for the employees.
Oh, the benefits for the
Yeah.
employees. What do you mean by the benefits of the employees?
Like how your company benefits, like I think Feeling, you wanna explain a bit about this?
Yeah, maybe like in terms of live, like maybe is there free canteen, this kind of like
Oh,
benefits that attracts.
okay, we work remotely. I would say like, okay, in Torum, they have the office in Bangsa South actually, but only the operation teams are there lah. So if you are living in KL, then you can come to the office, but they don't really have free canteen. But most of tech team are from India. So I usually start working at 10 a.m. and then actually we have our daily scrum at 12 p.m. because it's following the India time, right? And then after that, and then like most of them, like we have this developers from China, Africa as well. So basically we work remotely. So the benefit, I would say, freedom for you to work anywhere, everywhere you want. Other than that, like for me as a developer, I don't really The free canteen, free foods is not really tempting to me anymore. Previously was yes, but now no. I think like remote work is the best.
Then is there maybe insurance or that?
Yeah, okay, medical benefits, they don't really give you any medical insurance because it's a startup. Usually when you work in a startup, usually you won't get the medical insurance benefit. Rarely startup will give you that. But the salary is competitive, it's quite
Oh,
high. And they
okay.
value you guys as well. They still have the like team building or whatsoever. And it's up to you whether you want to go or not.
Is there like, do they support you to learn more? Like, do they give you go on courses? Do they
Yes,
support you?
yes, if you really like to have that, then you can talk with the HR. Like usually, they will give you the opportunity to have that. But eventually, actually, during working, we don't really go for any courses or training. It depends on in any company lah. But usually, we just learn from our seniors. So the seniors will teach you on how you want to do it, and then after that, you will just do it by yourself and googling everything.
Um, Another question is, what's the difference in terms of trends in AI before and after for this hiring employment? Like, what
The
was the trend before and what is the trend now? Like, what do they want before and what do they want now? What's the difference there?
I think right now most of them they focus on either domain expertise or software engineering. Because if you're very good in software engineering, then they will hire you as an AI engineer. But if you're very good in the domain expertise, then they will hire you as a data scientist or data analyst. Because they know that a garbage data, garbage in, garbage out, right? That's the most important, data centric. And the next thing is like, even if you're very good in wrangling the data, in visualize the data, but if you cannot deploy, you cannot put it in your apps in production, then it will be meaningless. So previously they just like hire someone that can leverage the data, but now they focus more on what they want. They whether they want a domain expert or they want a software engineer, something like that.
They want you to be really good in something, focus in something.
Yes, correct, correct.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you.
So I want to ask, if fresh graduates were to be hired, are we expected to be remote working?
No, it depends on your company lah. So if you are looking for remote hiring, like company with the remote, then you need to be able to adapt well to the remote. But as you are fresh grad, right? I think like for me, in my company, like in Torum also, even they are fresh grad, even though they work remotely, they are still very good.
I see.
So
Cause
there's yeah, okay, continue.
okay. So like I would expect if remote work will be hard to reach out to their seniors to ask for help. Is that a common occurrence?
Not really, because now we have Slack, Teams, or whatsoever, right? So usually, if you have a problem, you just like chat to them and ask like, "Can we connect now?" Like that.
I
If they
see.
say like, "Oh, I currently on a meeting, like let's connect 30 minutes later," then I will ping you or something like that. It's just the same. If you in the office also, you cannot suddenly go to your senior, right? And then say like, "Can I ask you a question?" Your senior at that time will have a lot of meetings. Seriously.
Yeah, okay. I think that's all from me. Anyone else?
Hi, Dr. Fairoza. So since AI is still like relatively new in the like business world in Malaysia, is it better for us fresh grads to like graduate early with a bachelor's degree and gain work experience, or should we study more for a master's degree? Which one would the company prefer better?
Okay, for me as an employer, I don't really look at your degree. I do like fact style, Facebook style. Meaning it's like what I see is your skills. So if your skill, even though you continue until master, but then your skill is just the same like fresh grad, bachelor degree grad, so why do I want to hire you? Something like that. So even though like if you are a fresh grad and then after that you jump to an industry, but you need to choose which industry you want lah. If you go for like a semiconductor company, maybe you are not going to get what software company is doing, because software company is totally different. You know, they have the agile methodologies of doing everything, and then they have the real software engineering life cycle. But if you go to a semicon company, then you are just becoming someone that like IT admin, something like that. So it's totally different on where you want to go and what you want to be. So for me, I don't really. But if you have a PhD, it's totally different story, because PhD really you already go deep into that field. But master and degree doesn't really have so much different.
See, thank you.
Any other question? Can you all hear me?
Oh,
Yep,
yes, we can hear you now.
Can. So like what I'm really curious about, like what soft skills would make someone successful in the AI field?
Soft skills. Do you mean
Yeah.
soft skills, right? Communication.
Yes. And communication.
Yes, the presentation style and communication. Because at first when I was a lecturer, like lecturer is totally different. You teach people, right? But then when we work industry, at first like I just come back from academic, so I feel very shy already. Like I just do the work, then they communicate so much, right? And then after that, I learned that it's very difficult to get more data, to get insights of like, you know, the feedback of what we are doing and everything. So I started to learn on communication skills. So I managed to communicate with the stakeholders very well, do a lot of presentations. So when I jumped to another company, it was like very easy lah. It was like, yes, we can do it like this. So this is the architecture that we want to do. So most of the thing is the communication. That is the most important soft skills that you need to have regardless of what kind of job that you're doing.
Any other question? Doctor, I have question for you. What
Okay.
inspired you to complete your study and the PhD?
Very interesting question also. What inspired me? Because
Yeah.
I really want to become a lecturer before.
Okay.
That is
Because normally, yeah, that's why I'm asking, because normally, when you continue your study to PhD, your aims is in academic line. Okay, so
yeah.
that's why I'm asking, what inspired you to?
So that was my ambition. And then after that, yeah, a lot of things happened lah. When I was in academic, I think like I'm teaching like more to short sendiri, right? You know, I just teach and I don't understand what is in the
Okay,
industry happen. So that
understood.
that's why I moved to industry. But that is my very first passion lah. Inspired me, that one.
Yeah, okay, sometimes when we do lecture, we don't have clear picture on the industry part. Okay, so when we go to industry, only then we experience all that. Okay, when come to lecture, come to academic line, then we share with student, this is my experience, this is the journey, and going to apply, right? Okay, that's why I'm asking, what inspired you? Okay, thank you for sharing.
Welcome.
Others?
Then, Dr. Fairoza, since now you are in the industry already, will you consider to go back to teaching next time since you understand it so much right now?
I think like a lot of people is asking me this. I was thinking maybe not now, maybe 10 years later, 20 years later, it depends lah. Because working as a lecturer is very hard also. I think you can ask your lecturer lah how hard their work is. For you guys to, you know, like 1 hour and a half session, I don't know, in Japan, like we need to teach for 1 hour and a half for one class actually. So for this 1 hour and a half, just to prepare one slides usually take one whole day. And after that, you teach students, right? Students sleep, play game at the back. So what do you feel? So please appreciate your lecturer. That is what
True.
I'm saying.
Yeah, it is true. Okay. Do come and join us in APU, Doctor.
Thank you very much. If there's anything else, I need to jump to another meeting. It's almost 12 p.m. actually.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any question? Yes?
Oh, one last question. We saw it on your company Ever AI's the for interns. You said that you need local Malaysians. Can I ask why do you not
Oh,
consider
visa
foreign?
problem. because it's always visa lah. But now we are considering to hire foreigners as well. But if we hire foreigners, then it will become a contract. But in terms, I think much better if we just hire local, because usually we need to groom the local very, we need to groom people, and it's very difficult to communicate with the foreigners. But for the higher level right now, we are thinking of like, because we try to find, as I mentioned, I try to find a fresh grad. It's very difficult to, it's very easy to get, but when I try to find mid-level and above, it's very difficult. So that's why now we change the strategy of employment. We try to hire foreigner as well. So if the foreigner is very good, then maybe we give them as a freelance first lah, because we need to take care of the visa, which is very difficult thing to do.
I see. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I guess if there's nothing else, then we end here.
Yeah, I think so too. Thank you
Okay,
very much
very
for
much,
joining
everyone.
us.
Have a
Oh,
nice
wait,
day.
before we end, can we take a picture?
Yeah, sure
Is that
can.
okay? Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So who's gonna take a picture? Me. Okay, Alia will take a
Yeah,
picture.
you
Alright. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Fairoza.
Okay, thank you,
Bye
Doctor.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.